Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Delaware Orthopedic Specialists. Spring has officially sprung, and you know what that means. All the weekend warriors dusting off their gear and trying way too hard to relive the glory days, and you know what's going to happen. Hip, ankle, foot, leg, knee, shoulder, injuries. Where else should you go other than Delaware Orthopedic Specialists? I don't know. DOS has specialists trained in each and every part of the body, so you're getting a provider specifically assigned to that part of the body. Why would you trust anyone other than a specialist? The only fellowship-trained surgery center in the state of Delaware makes it a no-brainer. Head on over to delortho.com or give them a call at 302-655-9494. I'm telling you, my family's gone there. My friends have gone there. Check out their Google reviews. They are phenomenal. DOS. Don't trust anyone other than a specialist.
Welcome to Talkin 215, your go-to podcast for everything you need to know about Philly sports. Whether you bleed green, trust the process, fly with the Flyers, or fight with the Fightins. This is the place where we break down Broad Street. Jake, Sean, and Joey deep dive into the heart of Philly sports culture, breaking down games, roster moves, and sharing the stories that make the 215 truly legendary. So grab a cheesesteak, settle in, and let's get to Talkin 215. Now here's your host, Jake Biasato.
What is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of Talkin 215. Took the holiday weekend off, and I just want to say from all of us at Talkin 215, I hope everybody had a wonderful, safe, phenomenal 4th of July weekend. Gentlemen, what'd you guys do? You guys fire up the grills, got out a little sun? What do we do that weekend?
Everything you mentioned, everything you just said, I guess. Nice. Just kind of trying to keep it low key, I guess. You know, the team we root for didn't give us much to celebrate, so we decided to celebrate with, you know, America's independence instead.
Mm-hmm. I got a chance to lift a couple days in a row with the extended weekend, so that was great. Finished up sore as all hell. My dog made sure my toddler was awake until the fireworks were over, so that was something. But other than that, it was fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, the weather was finally not terrible. Yeah. Doc, I don't know if that's what you're going to say, but like,
I was going to say,
finally the humidity wasn't terrible.
And I forgot my sunscreen, so I got burnt. I don't know if you can tell, but sitting out by the lake, it was nice. It was a great weekend. Weather-wise, it was perfect.
Little lake time, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I went out, played a round of golf. Surprisingly, I don't know if it's surprising or not. I guess most people wouldn't go out on the golf course on 4th of July. But I went out. It was empty. It was a beautiful day. Me and a couple buddies went out. Of course, you sneak the cooler in, you know, with a bunch of drinks. This might be a veteran move. I know our boy, you know, Phil, Bearded Knowledge. He's a big golf guy and all. He tunes in. I'll have to get his take. I brought the shaker glass and everything, and I made mojitos in the cart. I brought limes, cut them up, squeeze them in there. I brought mint from the garden, got the white rum, got the simple syrup. I just whipped us up a couple mojitos right there in the cart. And damn it, if it wasn't one of the most refreshing days out on the golf course. It certainly made the bogeys go down a lot easier. But I hope you guys all had a wonderful time. Everybody out there, 4th of July, you know, we're all patriotic over here. Big USA guys. Big USA guys. So 4th of July is something I always look forward to every year. But yeah, Phillies, hop right into it. It's a tough time. And I just want to kind of open the floor here. Jesus Luzardo, one of the greatest trades for the first 3 months of the season that we have seen in the Dave Dombrowski era. And then it's really been rocky since then. There's been a start or two mixed in that's kind of back to early season Luzardo. But we had the guy where I think we have him for this and next season. And it wasn't as big of a worry with Ranger probably leaving in the offseason, with the unknown of Painter, with the unknown of Abel, with Nola being just so dreadful to start the year. You kind of were like, you know what? We got Sanchez, we got Wheeler, we got Luzardo, you know, three good starters, and then a little bit of unknown with Painter and hopefully Nola getting back. You felt pretty good. But gentlemen, are we starting to hit the panic bells here on Jesus Luzardo?
You know, so for the first couple starts that were he got a little roughed up. I mean, there were those signs that there was a tell here and there, and you know, maybe I just don't have the eye for it, but I didn't really see too much in the way of that. But you know, you kind of imagine that whatever the issue was, that he had fixed it, and then I think it was the third time he came up and he just got absolutely rocked. So that was when the panic bell started to kind of sink in. Like, I don't know what we have in this guy. I mean, he's been injured in the past before. It very much feels like a Ranger light, and that when the guy's fresh, I mean, he's absolutely lights out. But it almost feels like I don't know. Is he just not used to pitching this much? Is there still a tell that we haven't quite figured out? I got to tell you, I don't know. I don't know what we have in him right now, and we're going to have to find out over these last 70 games or so.
Yeah, he's up and down, right? Like, it's so weird with him. He's either really, really good or really, really bad. And to me, he's kind of like, he reminds me of like a left-handed Nola from like a couple years ago, where you know how Nola, what do we always talk about? The Nola Rav fourth inning, you know, where he just absolutely implodes, starts giving up.
I hates Toyota.
Yeah. And then, you know, like in the playoffs against the Braves, he goes 7 innings, 8 Ks, 1 run. And you're like, okay, there he is. So it's Luzardo is like that to me. I think somebody pointed out on the last telecast about maybe it was day-night splits instead of home-road splits with Luzardo. It's one of them. Like he's really good at night, but not really good during the day. Something like that. So, again, I don't know how much you want to put into that. And like Sean mentioned, our whole staff was apparently tipping pitches at one point. So that's cool. I just think it's all those things combined, right? It's just real frustrating.
Doc, from a medical standpoint, when you see guys that have just such a major difference, you know, halfway through a season, so a good amount of sample size between day, nights, between warm, cold. I mean, warm, cold probably even makes a little bit more sense, but in situations like that, is there anything medical or physical with that? Or is that usually more of just like a mental thing?
I think more than any other sport, I think baseball players, especially pitchers, are creatures of habit. So you screw them up. I remember years ago before, I guess it was 2007, the Phillies had a playoff game against the Rockies, and it was like a 3:00 start, and it totally set Cole Hamels off, and he just could not pitch that game. And I think a lot of guys are like that. A lot of guys like what they like. You know, you had guys in the past that had to have certain catchers catch for them. You know, Tim McCarver did it for Carlton. And I think there's a lot of mental in this because you figure there shouldn't be that much difference between pitching at night and pitching during the day, other than the heat index. And, you know, that's a big factor. I think the weather does play into it, but when it's consistent, I think it's more mental than anything else because you can't really attribute any change of performance that great over a day game versus a night game. It's mostly up here.
Unless it's those specs, that's the all. And that's
that too. I mean, the light, how the light affects, but I don't know. I think it's more mental.
Fair enough. And then Doc, to Sean's credit, throughout Luzardo's career, he has matched his games started in every season but one. In 2023, he started 32 games, or at least appeared in 32 games. Every other season, his season high was 18 games that he played in. And he has reached that at this point. Yeah. Is there anything to the guy just not being used to going this far? Or is that kind of thrown out the window since it really started at game 11 and game 12, not game 17, 18?
Well, yeah. I mean, you definitely can hit the wall. People hit the wall all the time. They have problems with, you know, it's like the college to pros thing. I mean, maybe his body is geared towards a shorter season. And playing for the Marlins, he got that pretty often, I guess, you know, but I think you can hit a wall in there, and it's definitely the amount, you know, it's like a marathon. If you don't plan for it, you pitch lights out in the beginning of the year and you just don't have anything left in the tank by the end, and you're still in the rotation. So it's still coming every fourth or fifth game. So I think there's definitely something to that. He's not used to pitching more than 18 games a season, and he's hitting that wall right now. I think that's definitely affecting him.
Now, I'm not 100%. None of us are 100% whether that is it or not. But let's, in this hypothetical world, say that it is. What could they do to have him be back to that top tier level in the last third of the season? Is there anything that can just revitalize it this year? Or is it something they're going to have to just kind of condition him and get him more so ready for next year?
I think you can try to work with him during the days he's not pitching and see if there's a way to get him better rest or get him better recovery, trying to increase that. But it's hard to do in season. I tell people all the time, it's very hard to get recovery during a season because no matter what, even if you're 5 days, you're still going to throw, and that just puts you right back in the mix. So I don't think there's any magic potion or magic treatment that'll get him 100% other than rest. And there is no magic formula how much he should rest, not having an injury. So I think the best thing to do is just try to optimize the days off with him, try to see what works best for him, and stick to it till the end of the season.
Yeah. No, it's fair. It's just such a weird thing where we have just very inconsistent starts from our, more so our 4th and 5th pitcher right now. Because I mean, Wheeler, Sanchez, and Ranger are pretty much every game the same pitcher. I mean, Wheeler was 1 pitch away from a perfect game, absolutely masterful outing his last time. Ranger, I mean, what does a guy have to do to become an all-star? I guess we can kind of transition to the snubs on this Phillies team, the top 2 being Ranger and Turner. But I mean, Ranger, he has 1 bad start, his first start of the year, and then now has put together 11 straight quality starts with only 1 start giving up 3 earned runs. The rest were 2, 1, or 0. He's brought his ERA down now below 2 and has been masterful. At what cost are they doing something to have him not be an all-star?
Oh, I for one am grateful that he's not, because it's
of course.
Yeah, but people argue he didn't pitch a full season, but neither did Paul Skeens, and he was the starter last year, and he only had 11 starts when he was named the starting pitcher for the National League. So there is some sort of bias, there is some hype behind this, and Ranger's just not a hyped up guy. And I think it's fortunate that he can rest and get a little bit more recovery so we can use him later on in the season when we really need him. But yeah, he got snubbed.
100%.
I think it's like the comparison of the guy that does like a 360 dunk versus the guy that lays it up. It's still worth 2 points, right? But what does everyone talk about? What does everybody remember? They remember the dunk. Ranger's not throwing 102, blowing guys away and, having something like that. Neither is Sanchez. And, you got guys like you mentioned Skeens and even Wheeler gets it up there piping 99. Like the fastball is king. The fastball, the heater, the speed. That is what resonates in people's like residuals in their mind, right? So when you think of dominant pitchers, you're not thinking of a guy that's a master of location and deception like Ranger. You're not. You're thinking of the guy that can blow it by you at 102, Mason Miller, 103. That's why all these scouts usually mess up when it's like the NFL Combine. A quarterback can be on his knee throwing 60 yards, but he can't complete a 5-yard out. So give me the more accurate guy 9 times out of 10, because how many times are we throwing the back-footed Hail Mary falling out of bounds across our body? And I think that's where the sex appeal comes with these other pitchers versus like Ranger and Christopher Sanchez. It's just their pitches they're not power pitchers, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ranger's about as nonchalant as it gets. He'll have a ball just come right back to him. He'll hold it for 3 seconds and just kind of underhand flip it over to the first baseman to get the out. I mean, he is just Mr. Nonchalant. Smooth as silk, but he's Ranger danger and just goes out there and there isn't a danger. He's just same pitcher, inning in, inning out, batter in, batter out. And, we're lucky to have him. And to Doc's point, I'm glad that he's not playing in the All-Star game, but it's just more of like what is our guys doing to get some recognition around here? Trey Turner and batting stats. Like we all know he's a bit of a butcher in the field, but at the plate, I mean, he's the top shortstop in almost every single major category. And you got Mookie Betts as the starter.
Lindor.
And he's batting like below 250, and he has none of the stats that Trey Turner has, but he's a Dodger and he's a big name, and everybody hears Mookie Betts and they think, oh, that guy, every year is in the MVP conversation. He's got to be the all-star. He's got to be an all-star. And so you see it in almost every sport. There's a lot of weight that just the names carry.
Well, I mean, it's just a popularity contest, right? We've been talking the first third of the season. We did nothing but trash Trey Turner. So, of course, when it came to voting for him, like we weren't going to vote in large enough numbers to put this guy on the All-Star team. That's 100% on us, right? I mean, that's just that is the reality of playing in Philly sports. I don't think you're going to get as many All-Star nods because the fans are going to be very critical of you more often than not, right? You're not going to have an LA fan base that glazes over you every single game, and there's not a ton of pressure. It doesn't help that it doesn't hurt that they're a super team right at that point. But I mean, do you not think that being lambasted the first 40, 50 games of the season had anything to do with some of these guys, all the major snubs being part of the Phillies?
I also think fan voting shouldn't count as high as it does. I don't
100%.
I mean, like you said, they're going off of names, just name recognition from previous years. So you have 1, 2 cool, fun, home run derby, all-star-ish years, and all of a sudden that's just the name that I'm resonating myself with. Fan voting counts for this amount. No. Let the players, coaches, personnel, let them do more of it.
let the fans vote for the home run derby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like not the actual all-star who gets to play in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think true baseball purists are more of like the people that most deserve it should be the all-stars. Yeah, this amount of all-stars. I think a lot of people would be like, hey, get rid of the every team must have an all-star rule. If you have a team that's all dog shit, you're not going to make the all-star team. Like, sorry, that's just it. You get this amount of all-stars in the NL, this amount of all-stars in the AL. The top players in every position get the nods. That's it. The fans, I love that idea. The fans get to vote for who's in the home run derby. If you want to have a fun little Pro Bowl, dodgeball contest, whatever, you can pick your players for that. But for the players that get the actual all-star thing put on their baseball reference page where they got a little asterisk next to it saying this was an all-star season of theirs, it should be the people most deserving, not the people that everybody recognizes, not the people that everybody's names are known. Obviously, these guys are good players. But if you have a down year, you shouldn't then make an all-star just because you're an all-star the 4 previous seasons and everybody's got your fat head up on their wall.
Wouldn't Mike Trout be like the #1 vote getter in the AL and he didn't play like the entire first half or something like that?
Oh,
or
yeah.
2 games and then had surgery, but he still let him fan voting.
Yeah, I mean, the one time that I loved fan voting, Doc, you're a hockey guy as well. I can't for the life of me remember his name. He was like a 4th line goon for, I think it was like the Capitals, and they voted him in to be like a starter in the NHL All-Stars.
And he scored a goal in the.
He scored a bunch of goals. Because they do this 3-on-3 tournament now in the All-Stars. It's somewhat of an entertaining All-Star weekend for NHL, but he scored like a bunch of goals, and he's just he scored more goals in the All-Star game than he had that entire season, I think. Like they voted him in because he was just a goon. He was just a gritty player that went out there, left it all on the ice, and people liked him and thought it would be funny they had fan voting worth so much that they were like, hey, we're going to vote this guy in that has no right to be an NHL All-Star. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I still kind of, in every sport, think the most deserving players should be the ones in there, not the other way around. But that was kind of one where it's like the fans really across the NHL spectrum were like, yeah, let's vote. Was it Tom Wilson?
It might have been. And I think it was it was their, whatever team he was on, they were in that arena. So I think it was like the home team. So that was part of it too.
Oh, I'm sure. But that's fun. But look, we have Christopher Sanchez should be an all-star. Trey Turner should be an all-star. Ranger Suarez should be an all-star. Zach Wheeler should be an all-star. Zach Wheeler is an all-star. And then anybody else?
Bryce.
Should he?
Harper?
Well, he is. I don't know.
Should be.
Yeah.
He is. I don't know if he should. He's another name one.
Yeah, 100%. Bryce
definitely
name this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody else really deserving on the Phillies right now.
I wouldn't say so.
I mean, Bryce is just going to go 0 for when he actually gets there, right? I mean, the guy hasn't been able to hit a damn thing since he came back.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's been brutal. Now, I want to ask you guys, we hear complaints and we hear everybody, all the Twitter GMs, day in and day out, All-Star breaks coming up, trade deadlines, shortly there, right behind it. Oh, we need a bullpen arm. We need a bullpen arm. Oh, Phillies have been interested in X bullpen arm for so many years. This might be the year they bounce. We need bullpen arm. It seems pretty clear as day to me. We need a bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me if I'm wrong. We're not losing games on our pitching right now. Like, we lost last night 3-1. First of all, Kerkering struck out. Who was it? 3 straight pitches
Matt Chapman
in the zone. And they were all called balls. They went on to rally, take the lead, and they won the game.
But Harper struck out on pitches that weren't even in the same.
Oh, yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. No, he missed, I think, like 22 calls in that game was the umpire audit is what they determined. And it was just egregious. And then you squeeze Kerkering, who is just painting. I mean, that was 3 perfect pitches right on the black. And just you screw him, you screw the Phillies. But at the end of the day, how many games are you going to win where you score 1 run? You play 20 games and you score 1 run. You're lucky if you win, 2 of them? 1? Like, this team has a serious problem. And everybody seems to be like, oh, Alvarado's out for still so many games. And even when he comes back, he can't play in the postseason. Oh, we got, we don't know what's going to happen with our pitching and everything. We need a bullpen arm. We need a bullpen arm. Every year, we need a bullpen arm. We need another starter. We need a bat. bad.
Yeah.
We definitely need some power in this lineup. I mean, I saw a stat and I'm going to butcher it, but like over the last, I don't know, 20 games, like the starting pitching has allowed 2 or fewer runs in something like 18 of the starts, right? And we're barely 500 over the course of that time frame. Like, that's unacceptable. Your guys go out and it seems like these guys are going 7 innings. They're allowing 1 or 2 runs every single time. And every single time I am still cursing at my television, like wondering when this offense is going to show up, right? Yeah. It's crazy. Like, and this is such an aside. Normally, if I have stuff going on around the house, like I will tune in while the team's on offense. And then if I have to like vacuum or something, it'll be while we're on defense. Now it's the opposite. I'm 100%. Showing up. I'm watching the pitcher pitch. I'm watching us on defense, and while we're on offense, I'm like, all right, great. Now I can go take a piss or something, do whatever I need to do. Like, it's insane. This team has no pop. This team has no pop whatsoever. Kyle Schwarber accounts for like 42% of the home runs on this team. I made up that stat. Don't look it up. But it's just an asinine, absurd amount of production that we're getting out of one guy. If Kyle Schwarber wasn't on this team, we would be a bottom 3 team in the MLB in power. It probably
and we wouldn't be 29 or 28.
So I think you're absolutely right, Jake. I think this team needs a power bat. It doesn't, like, it could be righty, it could be a lefty. At this point, just ideally a righty, but it doesn't even matter at this point. Just give me somebody with some pop.
Yeah. Somebody that can get something going. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. How much of this falls on the shoulders of our veterans? Like, who's going to step up and have that speech?
Have it. He might have it by October. I'll give him that. He's got plenty of time to figure it out.
Yeah.
If we get there, and assuming we will, right? But as of right now, absolutely not. And of course, we're not going to be worried about not having any pop in July, right? If he's mashing dingers during Red October. But like, as of right now, it's pretty bleak. He wasn't really hitting for power much before the wrist injury, and it's not like the wrist injury is going to make things any better or help out at all.
No,
it doesn't even seem like it's healing, so everybody seems to be having a down year other than Schwarber. Somebody else has to step up, and probably 2 or 3 of them.
The offense is so weirdly built to me. It's almost like it's a team full of designated hitters that play the field, right? Like Bryce isn't a first baseman. Bohm isn't a true third baseman. You got Kepler playing left. You got Cassidy playing right. It's just, you got guys in spots that, like, they're supposed to be good hitters. So that's why we can take a deficiency in the field. And then, like Sean said, when you go up to the plate, my buddy was talking to me about this the other day. He said we had 1 out and a runner on first and somebody was up. And I said, unless it's Schwarber, it's going to take 2 more hits to score that guy from first, because whoever's up doesn't have enough power to drive a double into the gap, and whoever's on first doesn't have enough speed to score from first to home on whatever it is. So the construction of this team is so weird to me. Like, and when you insert a power bat into a lineup, it's kind of like what we talk about, obviously not this last handful of games, but in previous years where Bryce was out of the lineup and then he came back. And you see the Phillies scoring a lot of runs, even though Harper went 1 for 5 with a double, or 2 for 4 with 2 singles. It's because when you insert a power bat into a certain part of the lineup, pitchers, defense, everyone has to adjust, not just for that bat, the batter before, the batter after. Now, if there's somebody on base, everything changes. But if I know you're just going to be slapping singles everywhere, I could challenge you more as a pitcher. I can afford to make mistakes as a pitcher, and it'll help my defense and control the base paths. So it's just really frustrating. We do need a power bat more than we need a bullpen piece at the deadline. I'll say that. And
correct me if I'm wrong, we don't really have any power bats in our system either. Like, we've got some good prospects. Like, we're all excited about Justin Crawford, Aiden Miller. Like, we got some guys that we're excited to bring up, but there hasn't been since what, like Howard, that we've had a homegrown guy where we're just like, man, this guy is, we are just, Mike Hale was a big power guy.
I mean, he'd go 1 for 20, but that one hit would be a 478 foot. Tank.
Yeah, I mean, Weston Wilson's the most recent guy that showed any sort of power in the minors. Yeah. But I mean, that just kind of goes to show that's the only notable guy that we've had come up. There's been nothing.
Yeah.
But what is power if you don't make contact with the baseball? What is all the torque and bat speed?
I just want us to hit with a guy in scoring position.
No.
Please. Anything.
Sorry. No. Best I can do is no.
Like
it was what? It was 4th of July that we had
second and third, and then it's like it's on, buddy. I'm just gonna look at everything. I'm gonna be so selective. I don't want to ground into a double play, so I'm just gonna strike out looking.
It was what, 4th of July. We had bases loaded, nobody out, and then we had the very next inning, 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and in both innings combined, we scored 1 total run.
Yeah,
that was
4th, fielder's choice or something like that too. Like,
yeah, it was one that, I mean, like we would have scored it regardless, but it's one where Casty barely legged out, and like he probably was out, but they were like, it's too close. We're gonna say he's staying, like call stands, and they're like, all right, you scored a run, and then JT Realmuto strikes out the very next at bat, doesn't even put a ball in play to allow the next runner to score, and then I think it was Stott after him, and he popped out, and then 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Nobody advances, nobody moves, just death.
And
although Edmundo might have scored there, but we waited too long to challenge, so they didn't allow us to challenge, and inning was over because we can't run bases either.
I think somebody posted every game where the Phillies have the bases loaded and don't score, but their batting average with the bases loaded this year is 28th in all of baseball.
That's not just this year; that's every year.
Yeah,
they are so bad with bases loaded.
And look, I know batting average can be skewed because look, if the bases are loaded with no outs and I hit a 300-foot sac fly, I'm happy with that as a fan. My batting average isn't increasing, but I get that those can be skewed. But I think that's what drives Philly fans even more insane, right? Is like we're not asking for a double in the gap with bases loaded, right? We're begging for a sacrifice fly. Yeah. We're begging for just like a grounder that scores the guy from third. Like, you can get the out. I'm fine with it. But, like, nothing. The people don't move. I don't get it.
I just looked at a AAA leader in home runs. It is still Otto Kemp, who has been up with the Phillies
we should call that guy up.
Forever. Well, I mean, for 2 or 3 weeks now. And the next one is Buddy Kennedy.
Yeah, see, that's no.
Like, we don't have any power waiting in the wings to come on up to the major league level. It's gonna have to be done through a trade. And I'm gonna ask the same question that we've asked for 3 years now. At what point can we have a 5th highest payroll in baseball and have the same exact mistakes by some of the best hitters in the sport on every other team they've been on, and Kevin Long retains his job? At what point do they say, hey, you know what? We spend way too much money on incredible bats to have them be this mediocre, this consistently? It seems like every time that people start on that, Kevin Long, is he on the hot seat take? They'll have a game where they score 8 runs and everybody calms down and it resets for some reason, not acting like that's the anomaly and not the regularity of scoring less than 3 runs a game. But it's funny. We say all this. They're still what? They're still first in the NL East. Like, it's more of like, hey, we're too good of a team to just sit around and accept this.
We're so close. I mean, we're a lot closer than we give them credit for. Obviously, there's going to be different parts of the game that are going to be firing off on all cylinders at different parts, right? I mean, the bats are going to be hot. They're going to be cold. I mean, we're probably like one prime Max Kepler away from being an outstanding October team. The only problem is, I don't know when the hell we're going to get a good Max Kepler.
It's going
right. It's not coming. Right. That's the so, we got just as much of a shot as anybody else. We're just going to have to wait and see in October. And I hate that because it just means I might as well just shut up for the last couple months and I can't complain about them. But, that's what we got. Despite them underperforming, we're still, something like 14 games over 500 right now. So, I mean, how much can you complain? Like, we can push the limits, but bottom line is this is still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you look around the league and look what the Astros did to the Dodgers at home. They destroyed them. And these were like huge. We got swept by the Astros, but it was in Houston and they were close games. these were not close games. So if it's misery loves company, we're not the only super team that's struggling right now. So hopefully we can turn it around too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the fortunate thing is, in spite of all these bad losses and stuff, we are still maintaining our position. We're holding steady for now, and hopefully we can turn it around and increase that gap a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, they're doing what they need to do in the sense
Yeah.
of they're not going on a terrible run. They went on one about a month ago,
and they're winning series.
Yeah, they're winning series. They're winning ugly games. They're every now and then they'll have a pretty dominant performance by the entire team, not just one aspect of it. But Doc, let's say this. Let's say like everybody should, every smart person, they pick up the phone, they dial 302-655-9494, and they say, let me talk to Dr. Mesa. But thankfully, they're not critically injured or anything. And you know, if they were, they would get the best care possible over at our friends at Delaware Orthopedic Specialists. But they call you and say, Doc, you've done such a phenomenal job over at DOS. You are the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. What are you doing post All-Star break, running towards the postseason? What changes are you making to this Phillies team?
That's a loaded question. I mean, it's a dangerous recipe, because you're right. I think some of the issues, I mean, if you look at situational baseball, the way they're playing is they're still not disciplined at the plate. And that speaks to coaching. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to fire myself, but there are certain position coaches that may be on the hot seat, so to speak. And I think that, you know, it's a shame that Abel couldn't hold on, because now that trade bait is gone. So that's a piece that you would like to use. And he just blew it up. I mean, it was like batting practice. So he obviously,
every other team's ecstatic because they still want him, and now they know they don't have to give up. Yeah, exactly.
So I agree with you guys in terms of you need a bat. And I still, I mean, you say lefty righty. It's got to be a right-handed bat for me. You got to mix it up. You got to make these pitchers work more. They don't have to work. I mean, these guys are so undisciplined. They're swinging in the dirt. I mean, it's stuff that they should be better at the plate. I mean, I watch teams that are on a par with us. You know, you watch the Dodgers and the Mets, and they just approach the plate much differently than we do. They take what's given to them. They see a meatball, they hit it, and we don't. Yeah. And that's, to me, that's the fundamental issue. And obviously, bullpen, I'd like to do something with it, but I mean, if I had an asset to trade and get one player, it would be a bat. It would not be a relief pitcher.
Yeah. What's wild is Go ahead.
I was going to ask you guys, where do you sit fundamentally on this trade deadline? Because I know for years what Dave likes to do is half in, half out, right? Like, I feel like we can win a World Series. We're right there. And then he goes and gets, Whit Merrifield, or, he goes and gets Austin Hayes. And I'm like, oh, that was the missing piece. I don't think we were thinking about the same thing when I thought missing piece. And I get protecting your future and prospect hugging to an extent. I get that. But I think Doc mentioned it on our Super Bowl run about capitalizing when you have this much talent, because you don't know what yet next year's roster is going to look like. If you have this big three pitching like they are right now, we already know their names, and you still have Nola coming back, Painter, that both of those guys could go into the bullpen during the playoffs as well. Maybe Luzardo can too. And you have Price, you have Trey, you have Schwarber, Casty. Boom, these guys are going to be coming available. JT, wouldn't you want to capitalize now? I'm almost willing to say you have to hold Justin Crawford at gunpoint hostage and say, not to him literally, but to an organization, either we call him up or he's on the trade block. Those are the only two options right now, because tell me what good he's doing hitting over 400 against left-handed pitching in the minors. What good is that doing? The trade value will never be higher for him right now, and our outfield sucks. So, gun to your head, Dave, are you calling him up or is he tradable? What do you guys think?
I would trade him.
Yeah.
Look at what the Eagles did. They went outside the box. They overpaid for a running back, and look at what that brought him. I mean, you sometimes got to think outside conventional wisdom. All these analytics and these numbers guys look at X, Y, and Z, but sometimes you got to go with your heart and say, look, we're this close. Some mediocre guy is not going to push us over the edge, but if we go all in and get a good bat, it could be the difference between hoisting that trophy and going home early. So I would go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Joey, I think you said it exactly. Yeah, when a guy's playing like this, he's either brought up or you move him while you can. because you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen when he comes up. It could be a Scott Kingery kind of situation where he's the best minor league player, the best prospect we've ever seen, and the guy does nothing. I think you've seen enough of, hey, like you said, we're forcing Otto Kemp into left field because we don't have a left fielder, because Kepler stinks and Otto Kemp, he's played too good for us to not have him in the lineup relatively regularly. But you're forcing him into that situation. You have this weird platoon thing with Rojas, with Marsh. Cassie's obviously staying there. He's having a good year. You have issues in the outfield. He's going to solve, on paper, a lot of them. He's a plus glove. He's a plus bat. He's good speed. Like, you get him up here and see what he has, or move him to a team that is going to bring him up and get something that's more definite. If you're concerned about, we need a sure thing right now to try and take advantage of this year, which I've said it for the last month or so, this is probably the last year that you can really go for it with this core. And not probably, and by probably, I mean like 98% that JT, Schwarber, Ranger, possibly all three are gone. If not, you're probably only keeping one of them. And so you're going to have a completely different looking team, for better or worse. We don't know yet. But if you feel as though this is a team that can really make a run, then you need to go out and make that move. And yeah, a year or two from now, we may rip you for it. But when you make that move, if it's something where we get somebody of worth and of note, I'll say it now and you can clip it for 2 years from now when I'm saying Dave Dombrowski, that dumbass, traded away this guy. It's the right move. If you say, this is our year, we're going to do it, and you go out and actually make a splash, not like we trade away something and we get absolutely hosed for it, but you go out and you get a big name that we all can agree, like, yup, that's a good piece. And even if it doesn't work out, you went out, you actually did something, you put your money and you put your trade bait where your mouth is, and you said, this is the year we're going for it, not this half in, half out. We're going to kind of fix it with a little bit of this, we'll fix it with a little bit of that.
I think it boils down to, in any sport, but especially baseball, you have a proven commodity, someone playing at this level versus a prospect who you don't know how they're going to play in the pros. I mean, years ago, everybody was like, you can't touch Dominic Brown. He's a 5-tool player. He's the greatest, and he was for about 2 weeks. And that's, you mortgage your potential on a guy that never amounted to anything. And I think, like you said, position dictates. And I think I'd take the proven commodity at a high, I'd pay for it. You lose the prospect for that, but I would definitely go for it in this situation.
Today's episode is brought to you by White Glove Car Wash. Man, it feels like we just never get a break. We go from salt and brine on the roads right into pollen season, and our car never seems to be as clean as we needed it to be. That's where White Glove steps in. They're offering unlimited car wash packages for as low as $20 a month. You can take your car in daily and make sure that it is shiny, squeaky clean like you always want it to be, and not have to worry about cleaning it yourself. And with the satisfaction guarantee, you will never have to worry about it being just right. With locations in Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, you are never too far from the glove. Family owned and operated for over 40 years, go out and support small businesses this year and support your car by giving it the best car wash possible. Just ask your phone to take you to White Glove Car Wash and be taken to the nearest location to you, and let them give you the best car wash you have ever experienced.
Is Justin Crawford Jake Cave? Are they the same player? Is he just going to be the best guy in the minors month after month? Obviously it depends on who's available, right? What kind of bats are being shopped right now? I haven't heard of any big names. And of course it's all hearsay until the deal gets done. But I mean, what big names have been moved at the All-Star, at the trade deadline over the last couple of years? Nobody of really any big name values that have worked out. I mean, this is the one rare instance where I'm going to say, hey, listen, this guy you're going to need to bring up or send over a damn good proven commodity. In 3 years, who's going to be in this outfield? You have no clue. There's not a single outfielder on this team that you can say in 2 seasons is going to be here. Right. So, I mean, this guy's playing really well. You never know what you have. Of course, you have the Dom Browns. They happen all the damn time. But I mean, what do you have to fall back on? Like, I just, unless you've got a huge power bat that's up for grabs for the right price, I just don't see how you move on from a guy like him. I see Kepler in left every single day, and I'm wondering what the hell he's doing there today. So I don't know. I think outfield.
Otto Kemp's in left today.
But why? Why is Otto Kemp in left field tonight? Right? It's probably because half of our starters, it's past their bedtimes, right? Because they're in their mid-30s and they have 3 kids. Okay, so they got to have the kids out there, right? The early 20-somethings with no children at home that can play at 11 o'clock at night. Because I'm going to be asleep.
Yeah, I'll be sleeping.
It's tough. Otto's got a spot on this team. It's like the more I see him play, the more I'm like, boom, like it's been real. It's been real, but it's next man up. Like, I mean, we've talked about it. He's got
Otto Kemp's not a third baseman.
Well, what is he? We've got him playing all over the place.
Yeah, he's a baseball player.
I told you we have a team full of DHs. I told you a team full of DHs that play the field.
Right. So I mean, so where do we have this spot for him? It's like you mentioned, we got a bunch of DHs or positionless players, and there's nobody that says like, absolutely, I am a guy that plays third.
How much easier would this all be if Harper went back to the outfield?
Which he said he's willing to do.
Yeah. Like, wouldn't that make if we make no moves, wouldn't that make so much more sense with Aiden Miller being an infielder, possibly a third baseman, Otto Kemp, if you want to say, hey, he's going to be your first baseman. You have Justin Crawford. Now you got 2 of your outfield positions locked up. You have 1 less to worry about. Turner and Stott are going to be your guys, even though Stott is having just the year from hell right now.
The guy?
No, I was just, I mean, you thought he was. He is next year. And possibly the year after.
Next year, yes.
Yeah, he is next year. So is Harper moving to right field? It's probably the best thing for this team. You got Otto Kemp at first. Schwarber, I certainly hope he stays. My gut tells me he's gone. If they did not have a deal made, he is pricing himself out of this team because John Middleton is the cheapest son of a bitch I know. It's funny. He's
like Sean said, if you take Schwarber
top 5 payroll in baseball, I get it. But those concession prices.
How many home runs are you hitting if Schwarber doesn't come back?
8.
But also, was that, hold on, guys, his little quote about maybe doing the home run derby next year. Is that something or is that nothing?
That's nothing.
He wants to hit in this park. He doesn't mean he's a Philly.
Yeah.
He wants to be in the home run derby because it's at Citizens Bank and it's the 250th birthday of America.
Is the derby next year? Is it in Philly next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Philly next
year. Then he should play for free. Look at those perks.
No, like they have to find something out as far as power. Harper's going to need to stay healthy and have a 30 home run season. Turner's going to have to get back to being a 25, 30 home run guy. You have Casty for 1 more year after this year. So he's got to be that 20 plus home run guy. Like they need to go out and get some kind of power, but Harper goes to right. You bring up Crawford. And again, this is just saying you make no moves of notable guys. You got Aiden Miller playing third, Otto Kemp playing first, Stott Turner short and second. You got Harper in the outfield, Crawford in the outfield. Casty, you move. I don't know what you do there. You have to find a catcher because obviously it's not Marchand.
It's not a better team. It's not a better team then.
No, it's not a better team, but it could be. No, so I don't know. But what do you do then?
What do you feel? I would love this personally, and I've heard him tied to us for the last 2-3 years now. Byron Buxton for the Twins. Right-handed bat, shows power, amazing defensive outfielder, has speed. It's just him staying healthy isn't like number 1 or number 10 or anything on his priority list. He's Bob Sanders, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be 32 at the start of like 32 and a half at the start of next season.
I don't care if he's 75. I want 1 World Series championship with this core. And then, honestly, y'all can retire. You can tell Middleton to stick it up his ass and you demand a trade. That's fine. Just get me that 1 World Series. And you have to cash in on this pitching. This pitching is insane. And not capitalizing on it would be absolutely criminal. And this just – you guys talked about it earlier. It was Sean saying that our top 3 went like 18 games out of 20 where they pitched 1 run or less in 6 innings plus, yada, 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 this and that. When you're in offense and you know you're getting that type of pitching back in you, wouldn't you take more pitches? Wouldn't you try to move guys over? Wouldn't you try to sacrifice? Because you're thinking to yourself, guys, we really need 1-2 of these runs. We don't have to swing for a home run every inning. If we give Wheeler or Ranger or Chris one run, we might win this thing. So maybe we take some more pitches. Maybe we move guys. Maybe we draw some more walks to get guys on the pond.
Kevin Long.
But instead, they're pitching like it's an 8-run deficit and they have to like make it all up in one swing.
Right.
That's the mentality that I don't get from our offense. But then we'll see them lay down a nice sack butt when we're down 6-0 and Luzardo's given up, 5 bombs in the last 2 innings. How does that make sense? It's not complimentary.
It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. They don't play complimentary baseball. They don't play smart baseball. They play selfish baseball at the plate. And again, like we're saying all this while they're first in the NL East. Like we're saying this because we're close. We're saying this because we know that this could be a very good team if they were more disciplined, if they had some leadership in the dugout on the field that was a little more vocal. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you guys were up. I didn't watch the 8th inning live of last night's game. Did Rob Thompson get off of his chair when his team was getting absolutely bent over and boned? No? Didn't? Shocker.
They said the guy behind that was calling the game apparently is super petty and calls an even more biased game after a coach gives him lip for it.
I saw that. I saw somebody write an article.
Which is incredible to actually have a guy like in the majors that does that like is known for doing that. That's absurd.
Yeah. Well, I think also the issue, especially in Philadelphia, is we've seen this movie before with the 4 aces. We've seen this. We've seen, are these runs safe or whatever? And we blew it. 2 years, and I think that's I think that's why a lot of the fan base is very nervous about this situation. Cause it's like, we saw this last year, we saw this the year before, but we also saw it, in 2009 or 2010 and 11.
Yeah.
So I think that's the part for us older folk we worry about because we've seen this all play out before and not in a good way.
No. And coach, to answer your question when you were saying like, oh, but that's not a better team, when I was saying like who you could put where, it's probably not. I was more so saying like you either need to bring these guys up or trade them. And if you don't trade them, this is what it would look like if Harper was to move, because you're going to have to trade one of them if you're keeping Harper at first, unless Schwarber goes and Harper's your DH, which probably would be silly because he's a very, very good defensive first baseman and he was a good defensive outfielder. So it'd be silly to use your DH on a guy like that. I was more so saying, hey, if they don't trade these guys, which they probably should because of the way the team's built, this is what the team would have to look like, because you can't go into another year saying, all right, Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford, you're going to be on, in AAA, you're going to be in AA. Maybe you'll come up for a little spot start when somebody gets injured. Like at some point, I'm waiting for the Phillies to have the MLB Twitter page being like, hey, the top prospect of the Phillies is up on the team. Like, we don't get that because it's just like, no, let's bring up Max Lazar for a doubleheader, and he's going to come back for another week, and we're going to leave all of our big names that we're talking about in the offseason as, the Phillies have 5 top 100 prospects. Their farm team has really turned it around from the early 2000s, and we never see them.
I feel like this is how we kind of ass backwards lucked into that exact scenario, Jake. Christopher Sanchez and Orion Kerkering. We talked about our top prospects on this show all the time. Sanchez was just called up because we had injuries and we needed guys to eat innings, and we didn't want to blow someone's mental psyche by calling up one of our more experienced pitchers at the time. So we called up Sanchez, and then all of a sudden he became really good. Same thing with Kerkering. Like, Kerkering wasn't the top pitcher in our farm system or anything like that. He was just like a guy like when we call it Michael Mercado, right? He's nowhere near the top of the list, but he's pitching innings and some other better pitchers aren't. So I feel like we fell ass backwards into Kerkering and Sanchez being good because they were just spot start, pull them up guys. But I agree with you so much. Like, you can't be half in, half out. Being in team purgatory is the worst. I either need you to tank so that we can draft the next phenom coming out or rebuild, restock, whatever it is, or I need you competing for championships. Purgatory in the middle, the Miami Dolphins, I don't want that. That's worse than losing.
The one nice thing about baseball is, though, like, I'd be super concerned about this if it was like, football, where it's like, who would want to come to the Phillies? If I'm a younger player, they're going to play these veterans ahead of me. I'm, screw them. Nice thing about baseball is you're not like you don't really have a say as a minor leaguer. You're on whatever team drafts you, or you're on whatever team trades for you. Like you don't have that luxury of going to free agency as a star minor league player. So that's the one nice thing. Because I was thinking like, oh, like who would even want to come to Philly? And then I was like, well, doesn't really matter what you want in baseball. You're going wherever you're drafted, unless we actually talked about it before we started the draft. We draft a guy that's a stud. They have every option in baseball to say, no, I'm not going this year. I mean, you never see it with first round picks other than Russell Wilson. He was a first round pick or no, who was it?
Was he a
Russell Wilson pick? There was a player. Kyler Murray. Yeah, Kyler Murray. Yeah, Eli he was a first round pick
too, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, no, but I'm saying like Kyler Murray was a first round pick in baseball. Yeah. And
okay, got you.
And it, obviously went on to get to the Cardinals and everything. So he had something to fall back on. So you really never see it with like first round picks and all. But who knows? You build that reputation of I'm not going to bring up guys until they're 26. Guys aren't going to be wanting to take interviews. Guys aren't going to be wanting to come to Philadelphia. We're blowing this way out of proportion at this point. And I say we, I mean me. But
no, you're right. It's like some people that got mad this year. It's like, how come the daycare doesn't do the water thing anymore? Or like, where's the daycare? I'm like, the daycare's 34. Like, I don't know why we're calling them the daycare. They're not as young as you think. Yeah, they've only been called up for a little bit, but like Jake said, we wait till they're 27, and then we're saying this young strapping rook.
So I have a question about that. Does that mean the longer they're in the minors, is that how many years of control the team has?
I believe so. Yeah.
So if you keep them down, you get an extra year of having their control. So that's
of club control, yeah, which is why some people say don't call them up too early because they're just trying to control how that works as opposed to being good at baseball.
Right. But I think there's an element to that because that was the same issue with Ryan Howard, when to bring him up. And they waited. But I don't know if that falls into their strategy, but it does affect.
I was going to toss something in the air fryer. We also had Jim Thome. Like, you don't think
Jim Thome was a ghost, a shell of his former self. Like, we waited till he took himself out to pasture before we brought up Ryan Howard.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying we kept him down there, and then maybe that's part of the philosophy is more years of control with someone
I just don't understand baseball's what does baseball get out of that? Because one, you would think if you're a sport that is looking for more marketing and to make yourself global and bigger, you'd want all the young guys caught up early, right? Like you wouldn't want the club to hold them back. Like, we have a phenom has a .09 ERA throwing 100. I want to see him up. You would think that would bring more fans, like Paul Skeen's first start and stuff like that. They're cruising through the minors, but this whole club control thing, like who does it benefit other than Jake will probably love this, the owners probably don't have to pay that second contract so early now.
And then maybe that's a concession they made during the bargaining agreement at some point. Like, we're going to get control over this because, they want to have these prospects longer and not lose them right out of the bat. And I guess a lot of that comes from the history, like having teams like the Yankees just scarfing everybody up with the biggest money. So, and now the Dodgers, I guess, too. But I guess, maybe that's a way to control the prospects in not super high markets.
If Aiden Miller gets brought up this year, Surfsides are passing $20 next year at Citizens Bank Park.
Speaking of prospects, don't count your chickens before they hatch because there's somebody in our system that looks like the most average pitcher on the planet right now.
Oh boy.
Not going to name any names, but
the one that was taken out of the park, the guy, I don't know how it was 8 inches above the zone. And so it was like, but like you don't expect when you throw a high fastball, and I mean chin level high, that somebody's taking it yard. I mean, I'm far from concerned yet. Yeah, we'll swing. Oh yeah, we will swing at it. We ain't
Castillo swing at one of those all day. Castillo will be like, only 8 inches? This one's about to be 2.5 feet, baby. I'll swing.
Yeah, I hear only 8 inches. A lot. Anyway, look, I get it. You listen to WIP and you get all kinds of negativity and you get just all this nonsense, or you get the opposite and you're being told, No, you're wrong to doubt this team. This is the best team in baseball. There's no consistency here. I understand you're coming to us to get a little more positivity and a little honest take, but we're just going to give it to you how it is. Like, this team is a very good team. We want to see them be a great team because they have aspects that are best in baseball. Their starting three, their top three starters are the best top three starters in baseball. I mean, they have so many things going for them. Honestly, our bullpen's been very good lately. We have been losing games based on our bats, so we just want to see improvement on that. We're getting close to the trade deadline. We have prospects that are hitting for average, which is really what we need. We do need power as well, but we just need guys getting on base and hitting when other guys happen to be on base. So it's just us pointing out flaws that we want to see because we do know this team is a team that can make a deep run. So, I don't want you sitting there being like, oh, Talkin 2-5, they hate the Phillies. We're going to get those tweets. We get those tweets all the time from absolute morons saying, oh, you said JT Realmuto isn't still the best catcher in baseball? I will scream it. I will buy a billboard saying JT Realmuto is no longer the best catcher in baseball. I still hope he goes out and hits another cycle. I still hope he bats 400 with a 1,200 OPS. But I'm being realistic here. And that's all we do here at Talkin 2-5. We're being realistic. And I am realistic when I say that you will not get better treatment than a Delaware orthopedic specialist. I'm just saying. I'm honest with you. I shoot straight, and that's just coming right from the hip. Speaking of hips, they can do replacements. They can do, any kind of reshaping, anything you need. Just any hip, joint, shoulder, elbow, anything at all. They've got you covered with specialists covering each and every part of the body. So you're not just getting the Joe Schmo. You're getting Joe Mesa. Look out.
Excellent read. That was.
Thank you. I can't even read.
He looks even more saintly after he said that.
There you go. Yeah. People watching on YouTube, the mullets, it's strong. Strong. I wore a cowboy hat on the golf course on 4th of July. Mullet with a cowboy hat. I got to say, it was a good look.
I'll take your word for it, bud.
All right, Dick. Final thoughts, gentlemen? Not all at once.
I got a final thought, and just real quick. I can't stand the people that hate the Savannah Bananas. Get off my lawn type people. It's not competing with Major League Baseball. It's not teaching your kids to do silly stuff on the baseball field. It's teaching them to have fun and to watch something. The Harlem Globetrotters don't compete with the NBA. WWE doesn't compete with UFC. And nobody in each of those respective realms says that except for these weird baseball purist pieces of shit. So again, the Savannah Bananas is their own thing. It's an entertainment thing. We know it's not real baseball, buddy. Shut up and get off their lawn.
I'm starting to think that's just rage bait. I'm seeing it over and over, and it's like it just seems like very low quality rage bait. If that helps you at all, I don't think there's too many like actual boomers that are like.
Well, I took the bait.
Well, it works.
Fun. I took the bait, Sean.
It works.
And
it works. Also, I think WWE is larger than UFC.
Till the lawsuits get settled.
I mean, you're probably right.
Yeah,
you're probably right.
I don't know, but no, I'm with you. I love the Bananas, and I think the people that don't are just weird. They're weirdos. Doc, final thought?
I just wish, being this part of the summer, I wish I was more comfortable with the baseball team. I mean, I'm not upset, but I wish I was just in a more comfortable position. Yeah. I wish we had one of those seasons where we had a comfortable lead in the division and just kind of just cruised into the playoffs. And I know we're going to be fighting the Mets till the bitter end, which I love and hate at the same time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Sean?
Final thought. Edmundo Sosa. Start him at second for years to come.
For years to come. Edmundo Sosa. I heard people love Sosa.
There are certain people that love Sosa.
Certain people.
Yeah. Certain people.
That's rage bait right there.
Final thought: make a trade, get a right-handed bat. Let's win this damn thing.